Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to be talking to you about my radish cover crop for my food plot, some of the reasons I chose to use a radish cover crop, and then also how this is going as I terminate it and get ready for my fall food plot. Alright, there are a number of reasons why I wanted to use radishes as a cover crop, you guys. Some of the reasons are, number one, it provides soil cover, right? We're trying to keep a living root in the ground as much as we can, and I want to stabilize my topsoil out here and prevent the wind from blowing it away, the rain from washing it away. So it provides that soil cover. Another thing these radishes do, and this is actually a Daikon radish that I used, is they scavenge nutrients. So these roots, you can see the growth that I have here as of July 4th, and pretty good length on this. I would say that's a good 7-8 inches. These are scavenging nutrients out of the soil. You can see the soil that's left on here and these fine roots on here and the clumping effect. That's a sign of healthy soil, and I want to pull those nutrients in, collect them in this organic matter right here. Then when I terminate this crop and incorporate it back into the topsoil, I'm retaining and utilizing all of those nutrients. All right, another reason why I wanted to use the radish as a cover crop is because it's a weed suppressant. Now, in my plot, I'm sitting in it right now. I didn't have that great a success this year, you guys, with the weed suppressant aspect. This is a first-year food plot, and I have a ton of grass coming back in. As you can see, unfortunately, is what it is. This first year, I didn't use any chemicals on this. I just tilled it up, and you can see that this grass is really vigorously trying to grow back in, and in a lot of cases, it actually outcompeted my radishes as a cover crop. The idea behind this, and you can see this leaf right here, there's some larger ones in here. This is maybe a little better example. These leaves are gonna shade out and smother the other grass and weeds that are trying to compete in my food plot. I really like these because they are a broadleaf. I know a lot of guys and gals are using rye and other cereal grains as cover crops, and those are great options too. I just like the concept behind a broadleaf because of that smothering and shading effect. All right, now the other reason that I wanted to use radishes as a cover crop out here on my food plot is because of these roots. As you can see, these are digging their way into the ground. They're lifting the soil and reducing compaction in the soil. Now, in my case, because I'm using this as a warm season cover crop, I didn't have them in the ground that long. I planted these on May 26th, and today is July 4th. So this is what I was able to get out of these plants in that time frame. Now, you might be looking at this saying, you know, that's not much of a root or tuber. You know, I don't know if you're getting the compaction benefit, and I think there's maybe a little bit of truth to that. I think that I'm still going to be getting some of the soil aeration and lifting benefit of these roots, even as small as they are like this. And the other cool part about these is once I terminate these, right now you can see I got my bush hog out here. I'm mowing my radish cover crop, but once I mow it and then disc these back in or till them back in, these white roots, these tubers, are going to be left in the soil, and these are going to be creating nitrogen pockets in my soil, which is going to benefit this for my fall food plot. So another reason that I wanted to try these radishes as a cover crop, you guys, is because of the residue that's going to be left over, or lack thereof. So, you know, I looked into a lot of other cover crops, and there's a ton to pick from, and there's a lot of great ones out there. I'm also doing some buckwheat over here that I'm making a couple videos on. So I think these radishes have a lot going for them as far as cover crops go. And one of the benefits is just when you terminate these, you're going to have a lot less residue, and it's going to break down easier than say a winter rye stand or a big standing, say, chest high stand of oats or something. You know, those cereal grains are good too, and if you use those, I think those are great. I just think these are easier to get rid of. I have planted oats in the past as a cover crop, and I had a difficult time getting rid of them. I know some guys will just come in and spray them with glyphosate or herbicide, and that's one way to get rid of it too. If you use herbicide as part of your program. I've been trying to avoid herbicide use here if I can, so I just wanted to find a cover crop, a broadleaf that would smother nicely, fix nutrients, aerate the soil and stabilize the topsoil, prevent erosion. This plant right here, these radishes, really do all of that. And then the cool part with the equipment that I have, this mower right here, this bush hog mower that I'm pulling with my four-wheeler, once I mow these down, there's going to be very little residue left. This residue that's going to be left over here is going to get incorporated back into the topsoil. It'll provide a lot of good green manure and basically like a large compost for me out here on my food plot. And we've got good natural bacteria out here in the soil that's going to break these down quickly. Let's take a look. I'll show you around a little bit what I got going with my grass problem here in these radishes and then what I'm doing about it. This area right behind me, you guys, is probably the worst area of grass. It's just the grass pretty much surpassed and shaded out my radishes right in this location. But again, if you're using chemicals or you have an established food plot where you don't have that issue of the first year plot effect with all this grass coming back, you're probably going to have a lot better results with your radish cover crop. The more I till this up, the more I expose these grass roots to the sun and they die, I think the better and cleaner my plot's gonna get. All right, you guys, I took my first few passes with the tiller, as you saw. Couple things that surprised me out here about this. Again, the first is just the amount of grass that's coming back in on my food plot. This is a first year food plot, so for those of you who are creating food plots for the first time, if it's your first year working up the soil, maybe consider not doing a cover crop your first year, or at least not radishes. They just didn't seem to grow vigorous or vibrantly enough to outcompete the native grasses around here. These weeds and grasses that I have coming up through my radish cover crop here are just better suited for this climate, these soils, everything. And so these grasses were able to overtake these things and really kind of dominate my radishes, unfortunately. That was the first thing that I learned that kind of surprised me a little bit. The other thing, number two, is just a huge positive, and that's the size of these radishes. Given that I use this as a warm season cover crop with only about a 6-week growing season, I didn't think I was going to get tubers this big. These are really impressive. I can't believe how big some of these are. I just found these ones laying right here, filming the video in my first few passes, and as these tubers rot down, I've incorporated a whole bunch of them back into the soil with the tiller blades. As they rot down, they're going to leave a nitrogen pocket there. My fall food plot, my fall crop, is going to utilize those nutrients and absorb those as they grow this late summer. And these pockets left, these voids that are left in the ground, are going to help aerate, and then as these rot down, trap storm water and hold moisture in my topsoil layer. So a bunch of benefits here. That was the other thing that surprised me, that I was really impressed with on these. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish tilling this plot here. I'm going to till in all of the mowed area, and then I'm going to let this sit for about a week. And once a lot of this grass that I've tilled up and these radish tops sort of start to decay and brown up, I'm going to probably come through and either till or just disc it again before I plant. So I'm getting pretty close to planting my fall crop. I'm going to be putting brassicas in here, and I'm about 2 weeks out on that. I like to plant mid-July to late July, somewhere right in there, and we're getting close. And I know that these radishes are going to help me in my goal of getting a beautiful lush brassica plot out here, my fall food plot. For you at home with your food plots, if you guys use herbicide, this would be a good time. You could come in behind me, as you can see, and just do a full burn down on this. As you guys know from some of my other videos, I'm just trying not to use herbicides out here on my food plot, trying to find ways to suppress weeds and build my soil, you know, without using herbicides, or little or eliminate them altogether. So couple of options there, whatever your goals are on your farm or food plot program, whatever you guys like to do, think about that. But in the meantime, I'm really happy with these Daikon radishes, the way they turned out, the size of them, and the way they terminate and incorporate back into the soil. This tiller's having no problem getting through these in the biomass layer that's on top of the soil. So if you guys like this video, hit the thumbs up, drop me a comment down below if you got any questions or other ideas for me to try. If you guys have had success using these cover crops on your food plots, let me know, and consider subscribing to my channel. I got a lot more food plot videos coming out as we head towards fall. I'm going to be having other cover crop, buckwheat, termination videos, and then my fall planting coming up. So I hope you guys got something out of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, take care.